Hello, this is Rochelle Anderson. We're with the Guiding Light, a small business podcast, a place where you can come and learn about all the different things that you need to do in your business to be successful. This week we have got Stacey Ogden. Am I saying that correctly, Stacey?
Right.
Awesome. That name can go either way. And we are going to be talking about time management tips and some things that you can do both personally as well as professionally to keep that to-do list under control. Stacey comes from a very unique background. She decided that direct sales was not her cup of tea. So she decided that she wanted to really tap into a market that she could connect with. So you're a mommy blogger, right?
I am. Yep.
Yes. Okay.
Yep. Been doing that for about 4 years.
Yeah, did that for a little while. And then you decided that it was time to really connect with people and offer a way to help them. And that's how you got into time management coaching. And I'll let you take it from there.
Yeah, I wasn't getting the connection from the blog anymore. I was feeling kind of disconnected from people, and like it was sort of, you put stuff out there and who knows what happens to it. So I really wanted to get into a position where I could actually be of direct help to somebody. And I could, interact and we can have conversations. So that's when I decided to really sit down and think about where my skills lie. And, in addition to managing this blog for 4 years, I'm a full-time teacher, and I have a daughter and I have, a family to manage. So time management is definitely on my short list of skills. So, so I figured, people are constantly asking, how do you do that? How do you fit it all in? So I'll help.
Yeah, exactly. And a lot of times, I'm a business owner, you're a business owner, and we get so caught up in we get up, we've got these 911 emergencies, hitting us as soon as we walk in the door. Then you've got somebody that works for you that has their 911 emergency, that now it's your 911 emergency. And you've got all this stuff hitting you throughout the day. And you really don't realize that it's a time management issue. So what are some of the things that, small business owners can actually look at to know, hey, do I need time management help?
Well, there's a couple of things. The first is if you're constantly finding yourself dealing with fires all day, whether they're real fires or what I call fake fires, those things that seem like an emergency because somebody's, shouting it at you, but maybe isn't necessarily something that needs to be dealt with right then. And you get to the end of your day and you're like, what did I actually do? That's a pretty clear-cut sign that you're not really taking care of your time, and your time is really your most precious resource. You can make more money, you can buy more stuff, you can make more friends, but you cannot get more time no matter what you do. So,
well, I'm still waiting for that 36-hour workday. It has not happened yet, but I've been looking for it. Now, you said something, and a quote just entered in my mind. Lack of planning on your part does not warrant an emergency on my part. And a lot of times you run into that with clients and people you work with and things like that. So how would you handle a situation like that?
Well, the first thing is that you have to really set clear boundaries with clients, with employees, with coworkers, with your family. Right. So that if you are only going to be dealing with email twice a day, then email is not the way to get a hold of you in an emergency. So don't email me 45 times saying, did you get it? Did you check my email? Because no, I didn't. I don't check it until 11 o'clock in the morning. And if it's an emergency, like a true emergency, then it has to be dealt with another way. But you also have to define an emergency. To my 7-year-old, an emergency is that one of the pups on Paw Patrol is lost and she doesn't know what to do about it. So we had to do some work with her about what is actually an emergency.
Mm-hmm.
So the same thing is true of coworkers. The same thing is true of employees and clients. You have to be clear with those boundaries about what is an emergency, what happens in emergency, and how to get a hold of you, and where those lines are that can't be crossed.
Got it. Got it. Okay. All right. Now, how about managing the personal and the business side? Now that's where I have the hardest time because I'll get up and I'm like, okay, let me knock out a few of these things, and then I look up and it's 3 o'clock. The kitchen's a mess. The dogs are looking at me like, I gotta go out now. So I mean, you've got to have time during your day that you manage your time to where you can get all of those things in to where,
Yeah. And
you get it.
Is especially if you're someone who works from home, because
Mm-hmm.
when I leave for school in the morning, I don't see the pile of dirty dishes in the sink anymore until I get home. So I don't really need to think about that. But when you're home, you really need a system in place so that that pile of dirty dishes is there. But I know that when I pick up my daughter from school, I'm going to get her a snack. She's going to do some reading. And while she does her reading, I'm going to clean out the sink so that you know that you have time set aside each day for those tasks that have to get done.
Mm-hmm.
So that you can just push it out of your mind for the rest of the day.
Got it.
Yeah.
Got it. Okay. Alrighty. So we talked a little bit about how do you know if you need time management? And I still think that we haven't really dove into that enough because so many people are in denial that they need it, that I think we ought to kind of revisit that and just say, if your life is in complete chaos and you've got constant stuff coming at you, you could need time management help. So kind of go into that just a little bit more.
Yeah. Personally, I think pretty much everybody in at least the United States needs some sort of time management system in place because
Are you saying that people in the UK don't need time management help? I'm so picking on you.
I'm saying that in the US, we take busy to a whole new level.
Yes, we do.
Yeah.
We do.
And
we have a friend from Australia and he's just all laid back and we're like, we're too busy. We can't do that. And he's like, have a drink. Chill out a little bit. You know how Australians are. Yeah.
So we kind of have this culture that glorifies busy. And, we describe ourselves as busy.
Mm-hmm.
That's not a state of being, or it shouldn't be a state of being, so personally, my personal opinion is everyone can use some sort of at least tweaking of their system, or just coming up with it. But, if you want to go through, like I have my 3-step system that you can just walk through yourself. But I think if you are a small business owner who is really finding it, how do I say it? You feel like you're not really being good at anything, right? You feel like you're not giving everything you can to your business. You feel like you're not giving everything you can to your family, that you're just pulled in a million different directions all the time. Mm-hmm. That would be a sign that you probably want some help with that beyond just like a checklist or a cheat sheet. And because someone else from the outside can look and say, whoa, okay, let's take a step back here and see what's going on.
And it's funny that a lot of people don't realize, and I've really had to make myself aware of this because I'm a workaholic. I love what I do. And it's very hard not to, because of the fact that I enjoy what I do. I'm kind of like, well, I'm okay doing this. I'm good. But whenever you get yourself so caught up in that, what you put off to other people, I don't think a lot of people are aware that what they're putting off is not really desirable. Kind of like, and this is so hard for me to admit because I don't like admitting my flaws, but I will admit my flaws. So we were out to dinner with another couple, and during this time, you're supposed to have casual conversation, right?
Yeah.
I couldn't help it. I wanted to talk about business because that's what was in my head. And it was just, and you get yourself so caught up in your busy business, that there's no room for anything else. And then nobody really wants to be around you.
Yeah.
When you can talk about nothing but business, they're off. They don't want to talk about business. They're off, so.
And the other thing is, if you can't leave business at work, that's another sort of red flag there, that if
business owners have a hard time with that because they own and they're constantly, I took a vacation 6 years ago. That was my last vacation. Okay. And we went to Florida and I notified all my clients. I said, listen, I will be available for you guys after 5. If you need me before 5, email me. But I will not reply back to you until after 5. I'm on vacation. Don't mind being here because I was managing AdWords. I was, it was stuff where I needed to be available. Didn't matter. Called me. I answered, of course, just in case it was a 911 emergency. I had my laptop in the car just in case something happened. And it was like, hey, I've got this. Can you look at this? I'm like, not right now. I'm walking around Busch Gardens. And business owners have a hard time just kind of saying, this is my time. And I could have left my phone in the car. Yeah, I could have, but we can't. We just can't do it. So for busy business owners that have a hard time really putting things on the back burner, leaving time for family, leaving time for them to really refresh themselves so that way they can take 5 and chill for a little bit.
Yeah.
How do you time that in?
It's one of the things that I work on with clients, that I insist that when we're looking at their weekly schedule and their plan for how they're going to manage their time, that they include time for self-care and downtime. And I have clients who come back to me that were like, it was so hard. I have this time scheduled where I can take a bath, or I can take a walk, or I can just, hang out and watch TV with my kid or read a book to her. And I was like itchy because I don't know how to not work. And I think it's actually at this point for many of us a learned skill of how to not work. And
that's scary, Stacey.
Yeah, it is. And it's something that needs practice, and it has to be something that you are dedicated to. So that, you know how it is. When you burn the candle at both ends, eventually you're going to burn out.
Your health. It's not good for your health, your stress, your heart, they have shown, there's scientific studies out there that show that if you stress yourself out so bad for so long, your body's going to just start saying, hey, I'm done.
Yep. Yeah. You just start to shut down. And, things that I noticed that really changed, that I wasn't expecting, is that things with my family got easier because they weren't constantly fighting for my attention. So when it was time to go to bed, there wasn't a fight about it. When it's time for, we just spent half an hour playing soccer. Now it's time for mommy to go in and she's got to do a podcast. So, there wasn't that battle anymore because I was setting aside time and I wasn't constantly looking at my phone while I was playing soccer. I left the phone in the house and my daughter had my full attention for those 30 minutes. And, it's baby steps. It's really
that's great. Because if you try to just say, okay, all in, is it going to work?
No, it's not.
No, you have to slowly incorporate these things in, which I have done, and I'm a lot happier. And given that I'm a creative,
Mm-hmm.
I've learned that if I don't take that time, I can't do that side of what I need to do. And
Yes.
yeah, have you seen that a lot of people their level of work and focus and all of that is usually affected
Absolutely.
because they're
Yeah.
just in it 100%,
Yeah.
swimming
And
in it.
yeah,
Like,
you get so close to it that you can't see what's actually going on around you. And
mhm,
a friend of mine actually says, she says, you spend all your time working in your business, but you don't really work on your business because you're too busy with all the little details that you never take a step back and look at
mhm,
the big picture. And for me, I know that when I take a break, I spent a night, my sister and I had a sleepover together while our daughters had a sleepover with our parents. So um, I had my laptop and I fully intended, okay, after she goes to sleep, I'm going to do some work. And I didn't. We stayed up until like 1 o'clock in the morning. We watched cheesy movies from when we were kids. We laughed and we talked, and I didn't touch my computer until I got home the next day. And when I got home, I had all of these amazing ideas just like spinning around in my head that
mhm,
I had to get it out.
mhm.
But I wasn't thinking about it while I was spending time with my sister. It's just the space and taking that time away from my business gave me that that grace to think about things, not
Mhm.
be so in them.
Right. So it gave you kind of that downtime for your brain to kind of rest, and then here they come.
Yep.
Yeah. Yes. So, advice that people can take away. If you have a creative block or a block in your business, it's time to take a little time out. Don't even think about it. Just put it
Yep.
off on the back burner. And then probably once you come back, it may come to you.
Yeah.
Yes.
And the other thing that I recommend to my clients is that you just download a voice recorder app for your phone, because you never know when inspiration is going to strike. But you don't want to be like, this happens to me all the time because I'm also a creative person, is that I'm in the middle of one thing and I go, oh, this would be so amazing. And then I start to think about that other thing. So the thing that I needed to work on is sort of put aside because this idea came to me.
Got to
So
get it out while it's in my head.
yes, exactly. So now that I have my voice recorder, I literally take 30 seconds and I talk to my voice recorder and say, oh my gosh, I've got to try this thing and contact this person to do it. And then I'm going to set it up XYZ. And then I can put my phone aside and I can go back to what I was doing because the
Now, I
thought
use
is not in
Evernote for
my head.
that. Yeah, I use Evernote for that. And
Yeah.
Evernote does have a voice recorder, as does OneNote. Are there other apps out there that are pretty easy that you've recommended?
Yeah, mine is literally called Voice Recorder.
Oh,
it
got
was
it.
it was free, and it's just, I have it on in the background when I listen to podcasts too, so I can pause the podcast, flip over to the voice recorder and say, ooh, the Biz Chicks podcast had this really good idea to do this, blah, 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 blah. So, I'm hardly ever without my phone.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's a good way to capture those ideas
Mm-hmm.
without them distracting me and getting
Mm-hmm.
um, and also when I go to do my brain dump in the before I set up my week, then I have my voice recorder there, so I can take all those ideas, get them out of the voice recorder, get them on the right list of where they need to be, and that's taken care of.
Awesome. Awesome. Well, that's some great advice. That's some great advice. Now, you've got a few little cool tools on your website. It's actually free.
Yeah.
And oh, well, you do have to provide an email address, but it would definitely be worth it to go ahead and get it. Since you'll get your newsletter. Isn't that correct?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah.
So
With
yeah, my freebie right now is a cheat sheet that like literally walks you through step by step what I do every week to organize my time.
mm-hmm.
And you know, the overview of it is you start with the brain dump, then you prioritize everything, and then you put it into your calendar. Because in my life, if it's not on the calendar, it doesn't get done. And that's just the way it is.
It's a good method to have. That is for sure.
Yeah. And I will also say that in there's two different categories of like really priority items. There's the must do, like the 4 horsemen of the apocalypse will ride into your living room if they don't get done.
I love the analogy.
And then there's the should do's. Life will be much easier if these get done. And I only give you 10 spots. So you really have to think about what those priorities are.
Got it.
What must get done and what should get done. And then everything else goes into a list, and you just set aside half an hour or 60 minutes a day to just check off, call the bug control guy, book the hotel for nephew's wedding or whatever those items are.
Right. But this, you mentioned a few personal things, but this can also be used for the business side of things.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. I use one list for everything because I can't separate because my life is just one life. So I have to keep everything in one place. So things related to my job, things related to my business, things related to my personal life are all on one list. And I still have to just pick 10 priorities, things. 10 must-dos for all of it.
That's hard.
Yeah. And then don't schedule more than 2 must-dos a day.
So no cheating, right? No printing out the list twice and then saying, okay, here's 10 and here's 10 more. That way I can get 20 in. Yeah.
Yep.
None of that.
No cheating. Because there's a quote that I really love, and I don't actually know where it comes from, but people tend to overestimate what they can get done in a day and underestimate what they can get done in a year. And when we pile all of our must-dos in one single day, that's the day that your car won't start, or that's the day that the internet goes down, or that's the day that your kid gets sick and you have to go pick him up from school. So it always happens that way. So you've got to make sure that you give yourself grace and space in your schedule so that you have those priorities taken care of. They're on your schedule. They're in there. They're going to get done, but you don't pile them all in one spot because
right.
You're basically setting yourself up for disaster.
I know we're talking about time management, and this is one that I hear a lot. Okay. I have this one huge project that I'm working on. That's not something that you can just say this, right? I mean, you can't just jot it down on a to-do list and say, otherwise that same thing is going to get moved to next week's and next week. It's never going to get accomplished.
Right.
So what do you recommend for the bigger projects?
Well, the thing is, you don't actually do the projects in one piece. You do the project in baby steps. You have to do this first. You have to do this second. You have to do this third. So when you're working through your priorities for the week, you have to address the item, not the project. So if you want to get the first 4 steps of this big project done this week, then those 4 steps are 4 of your must-dos.
Got it.
So that's how you get it working.
Breaking those projects up into little micro projects to accomplish the big project is what you really recommend. And putting those items, don't just put that one big project as one item. You can't cheat. I would cheat. So I would need an accountability partner. But
the other thing to that end, the other thing that some people, they just don't think that way. They think big picture. They think holistically. And they literally, if they have to stop and think about what to do first and what to do second, they'll give themselves a panic attack. So in that case, if you just cannot think that way, then just block out time. Like, how much time do you need every day to accomplish this project? You know, if you gave them a quote that included 20 hours of work over a month, then divide that 20 hours of work over a month and give yourself that time to work on it.
Mm-hmm.
You might also find out that you're undercharging.
Very true. Very true. Now, here's another one that I have for you. And you just mentioned that. So I know what we use, but do you keep like, I mean, people used to use kitchen timers for stuff like this, but do you like recommend, you know, here, if you're going to schedule out this block of time, set a timer, have it go off, kick you in the tail, get you up and get you on the next thing that you need to do? Because that would be me. I mean, the creative juices would be going and I'd want to finish it. And I'm like, no, I have to stop and go work on something else. What do you recommend on that side of things?
Yeah, it's another one of those things that's a personal decision. And if you're really struggling with it, definitely seek out the help of like a productivity coach or a time management coach. But most people, the timer works.
The timer works.
Yeah.
Got it.
And then again, if you're at the end of your time and you know the next 5 things that you want to do for that project, grab your voice recorder and say, okay, I had to stop here, but this is where my mind was going. So that next time when you pick it up, you have that note, you know where your head was at. Because sometimes we go back to a project and we're like, I don't remember what I was planning here. I don't remember what I was doing.
Now, some of our clients do use project management systems. Okay. So if you will think about that project, you're breaking it up into chunks. Would you recommend breaking those up into like task lists? That's what we do with ours. Yes. So we break that project up into little bitty chunks. And then what I'll do is if I'm working on one part of that takes a long time, like, you know, we do website design. So if I'm in the middle of like a mock-up design for somebody and I've got all these thoughts, timer's gone off, I'll jump into the project manager and I'll be like, oh, do this and this and this. And then you can jot those notes within the project manager. That way everything's right in there together. That's another thing, right?
That is also, especially if you have a team, that's a really good way to keep track of it as well. Yeah,
exactly. So on timers, other than your phone counting down, which your phone should be on silent while you're working on these projects anyway, otherwise you're going to get distracted.
Yep.
With ding, Facebook, ding, email. Yeah. So what type of timers would you recommend that do not have the distraction factor where you can really, I'm asking for my own benefit, that do not have the distraction factor? What would you recommend?
Literally any kitchen timer, whether it's digital or the egg timers. The only thing about the egg timers is they have that tick, tick, tick sound that can drive me crazy. So it kind of makes you feel like, oh my God, time is running out. Like there's a bomb about to go off. But any kitchen timer is fine. You know, if you have an Apple Watch, it has pre-made timers on there. You can make your own. So there's tons of ways to do it. And I actually recommend to most clients that they leave their phone in the other room.
Oh, that would be hard. Yeah, that would be hard.
Yeah. But here's the reason why. And I have a tool that I use on my phone. I'm still looking for one that's an Apple compatible, but I have something called alarms only mode. I have a Motorola Droid, and it's alarms only mode. So it only makes sound when an alarm goes off, or if someone calls from one of the numbers that I programmed in. So my husband's phone number, my kid's school, my mother-in-law, and my mother. Those are my 4 numbers that if those people call me, it's going to ring. And if it's in the other room, I'm still going to hear it ring. So I'm not tempted to pick up the phone and check Facebook or, you know, check Instagram or start texting or Voxering or whatever. But I can still hear. I don't have to have that worry because for a lot of my clients are moms. And that's their concern. What if my kid's school calls and I don't hear because the phone is on silent?
Mm-hmm.
Yep. And if you can't do that, then the other thing you can do if there's no alarms only mode is set those priority numbers with a different ringtone.
Got it. Okay.
Ignore
So
the
here's a question. Right. Here's a question that I have for you. We work with a lot of small businesses that have employees.
Mhm.
Okay. And I hear so much about, oh, he was just on Facebook and he was doing this and he was doing that. So my question is, we tell our small business clients, you have to engage on social media if you're going to be successful. You have to build a tribe. You have to build a community. You have to do all this. And they're like, I'm running my business. I don't have time for all that mess, and it's a lot better if it comes from the business owner versus some marketing person like me. You know what I mean? So I do encourage our clients and also the followers of this podcast to pick something that you're going to do on social media. And every time I do that, I have a client that comes back and I'm like, hey, you haven't been doing your thing on social media. I had to stop. And I'm like, well, why? And they go, well, because I go to Facebook and I do my thing. And I got a message from a friend, ended up sitting there talking to them for 5 minutes. And then I saw something, another friend's post, and I had to go ahead and comment on that one. Next thing I knew, it was 2 hours later to do this one little post. So I know what we told them to do, okay? But I want to get your feedback on, as part of a business, you have to engage on social media.
Yes.
How do you keep that from just absolutely consuming you?
There's a couple of ways. And my first suggestion is you just have to be a grown-up and exercise some self-control. But
what?
I mean, honestly, you have to realize that this is not your priority right now. This isn't getting you where you want to be. So you have to stop. The other thing that I find works well for people is that they only let themselves go on in 15-minute chunks. You have 15 minutes to go on, to do your post, to check in with your group, and that's it. And then you can do another 15 minutes in the afternoon. But if you have that 15 minutes set and you set the timer, then that's it. You have to go in and do what you were meant to do, and then you're done. And if you have 2 minutes left and you want to comment on your friend's post, then that's, it's not going to kill anybody. But that way you're getting done what you need to get done. The timer goes off and you get back to work.
Right. And shut off Messenger.
Yes.
Just completely get it off of your phone.
Yes.
And your life will be a whole lot happier. Yeah.
Yes.
Right?
Much easier to ignore something that isn't there.
Isn't that the truth? And then because you can open up Facebook on like a desktop or whatever, and you can engage that way, but you don't have it constantly beeping at you throughout the day, which we manage a lot of Facebook pages. And we had to go in and remove ourselves as admins and editors and all of that stuff, because I wasn't only getting my messages and my business's messages and the social media campaigns that we were actually managing, but I was also getting notifications from every single business. Stacey, I had over 95 businesses that I was managing and getting constant notifications. And I was like, so if you're aware, you can remove some of those distractions, the things that, exactly. And that's one thing that we, like you said, be the grown up, we have control over. But it's so hard that it took me 2 years to actually remove myself and say, let's shut up the noise.
Yeah. And partly it's because we're just so used to it. It's just part of our daily life. Ding, ding, ding. And partly it's because we actually have told ourselves that this is the way it's supposed to be. And it doesn't have to be that way. You do not have to be on call 24/7.
Okay. Well, one other thing that I did want to ask you about, And and this goes on to the notifications. Okay. So it's not just Messenger. I did a class. It was back whenever I first started in business. And this one statement has really resonated with me and has stuck with me all of this time, that when we're in the middle of doing something, our level of concentration is so good while we're in the middle of it. But if there's a ding, an email notification, a text notification, anything like that, it takes us 15 minutes to get back to the level of concentration we were at before the notification. So just since we've started, we've been live for about 35 minutes. I had my phone on vibrate just a little bit ago, and I shut it off completely to where it's not even vibrating. But it literally went off 30 times in 20 minutes. I kid you not. So how would I ever have that level of concentration if you don't shut off those notifications?
Yeah.
And a lot of people don't realize that.
I've never heard that statistic before, but it makes total sense to me. Yeah. You get into a zone and you're focused on one thing, and any sort of distraction, it goes back to like our caveman days, that when we hear a noise, our brain just is automatically drawn to figure out what that noise is. And is it a danger to us? Is it not something we need to address? Is it nothing? But in that time, now you have to get back into the zone because now your attention has been pulled away. So yeah, that totally makes sense. And yeah, that's why I suggest people leave the phone in the other room.
Definitely. Okay. So you have a cheat sheet on your website. Why don't you go ahead and share your website with us?
Yeah, my website is thebusymomcollective.com. So it's actually just busymomcollective.com. And you can get the cheat sheet right on my homepage.
I saw it just under your picture. It's in the big banner that goes across there. So
it's pretty much on every page because people love it. So
awesome. Okay, so let's say I go and get the cheat sheet, and I'm kind of working through it, and I try it for a week or two, and I'm like, you know what? I need a little more. That would be me. Do you offer anything else that, people can get help to kind of work through that accountability thing? Yeah. So tell us more about that.
Yeah, I have a couple different coaching packages. One is actually, it's under $100, and it will go through that 30-minute, I call it my 30-minute to-do list makeover. It'll go through that 3-step process. But if you have questions like, well, I don't know how this fits into my life, or I don't know, my situation is a little different because, and how can we work that? So you get a little bit more hand-holding, a little bit more one-on-one, and advice that's specific to you. And all my coaching is one-on-one. And then I offer another session, which is, let's just get into it. What's getting in your way? And that's, 90 minutes total. So an hour call first and then 30-minute follow-up. And then there's my, grand poobah package, which is still not bad. Where we do the hour call, and then we actually have 5 follow-ups so that you get into a habit. So
that's for the really stubborn person that needs just a whole lot of hand-holding.
Yeah, and that one is all about accountability.
Let's just admit that we are that person and raise our hand and say, yeah. And there's nothing wrong with that. It's just that we've fallen into that rut of stay busy and just allow a lot of distractions into where we're not able to get anything accomplished.
Yep.
So, yes. I know that I've been following your website, looking at your blog. Don't you also have a podcast?
I do. Yeah.
You do. Tell us more about that.
Yeah, it's actually very new. So I just released my 21st episode.
Oh, but you're actually older than us. This is our 11th episode. So you're about 10 ahead of us. So this is awesome. Yes.
All right. I'm somebody's big sister. So it's, we talk a lot about time management and productivity as it relates to being a parent. A lot of my audience are people who have a side hustle. So this summer, I'm actually doing a whole series, a 12-week series that's just devoted to side hustles. I mean, I've got some really good people lined up to talk about getting sales and what tools you need and how to create your exit strategy from your full-time job. So all that stuff is coming up this summer and I'm really excited about it.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome. Okay. All right. That's cool. So where can we find your podcast?
Oh, I am anywhere podcasts are heard. So
So
I'm on
Stitcher.
iTunes, Stitcher, Google Play.
Awesome.
You
Awesome.
can actually get it on YouTube as well. There's just a static image, but the whole podcast will play.
Got
So,
it. Got it.
yeah.
Okay. All right. So definitely subscribe on Stitcher if you're a mommy and you're working because you'll get a lot from that. Now, what about daddies that are also, they've got a side hustle, they're taking care of their kids and all that kind of stuff. We don't want anybody to think that they're not welcome, do we?
No, absolutely not.
Because
No,
daddies also have those responsibilities as well. So,
especially nowadays. I'm really impressed with
mhm.
how things have changed. But yeah, definitely, I tend to speak to the moms, but there's a
Mhm.
lot of really good information on there that
Mhm.
can be of use to anybody.
Got
When
it.
I've got Nikki Rausch coming on this summer to talk about sales, and she is just a genius.
Mhm.
So anybody can benefit from her knowledge. So
Got it. Got it. Well, awesome. Awesome. Okay. Well, wrapping up, what is one big tip that you would like to give everybody?
hmm.
Or one just big nugget that they can take away that they may be able to implement? Well, Monday is Memorial Day, so
Mm-hmm.
they're going to have a 4-day week. So,
Yep.
what are some things that they may be able to do this weekend to kind of get them just a taste of how they can make next week more effective?
What I would suggest is you go get the cheat sheet and just commit to trying it. So whether it be Friday afternoon or Sunday night, depending
Mm-hmm.
on your work cycle,
Mm-hmm.
just sit down and do a brain dump of everything that you need to do.
Mm-hmm.
Get your list into priorities and do not cheat. No more than 10 must
Mm-hmm.
do.
Okay.
And then make sure that all of those priorities are actually in your calendar.
Got it.
Okay. And
Okay.
then I do the same thing with the should do's, the things that make it easier.
Okay.
So that way you're setting yourself up for all the things that you need to do. They're scheduled. They're in there. You're covered.
Mm-hmm.
And things come along, there's a accident on the freeway and you don't get home in time, or you're an hour late and you miss that hour. Well, you can make up an hour somewhere else.
Right.
Just write it into your schedule where you're going to make up that hour.
Okay. All right. Got it. Got it. So if anybody's got questions for you, what's the best way to reach you? Is it through the website or would you prefer Facebook, or because you also have a Facebook page?
I do.
Don't
Yep.
you?
Yep.
Okay.
We have a
All right.
Facebook page and a Facebook group,
Mm-hmm.
Busy Mom Collective for both. And, if somebody has questions for me, they can go through the website or they can just email me at Stacey@busymomcollective.com.
Awesome. Awesome.
Yep.
Well,
And it's
I want to thank you very much. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Stacey with an EY.
EY. Yes.
EY.
Stacey Stacey.
Yes.
Yes. So definitely don't mess that one up. Otherwise she won't get the email. Um,
I don't want people to think I'm ignoring them.
Exactly. Exactly. So I want to thank you very much, Stacey, for being on. This I'll be uploading to Stitcher and YouTube and Facebook Live and all that kind of stuff. So you'll be able to share it. One thing that I do want to mention is Guiding Light is on all of those. So definitely subscribe somewhere. Just pick your preference and that's where we want you. So, and if you have any ideas of things you'd like covered in the show, definitely let us know. But we're going to have Stacey on again at some point in time. But I do want, if you guys download her cheat sheet, and you guys have any little nugget of success next week, or if you're listening to this a year later and you have some little nugget of success, I want you to share with us, because, this cheat sheet is awesome. So definitely go to our website, go get the cheat sheet, and be working in the right direction. For sure.
And we love to, this is why we do it. We love to help. So when we know that we're helping, it makes the whole thing worthwhile.
Exactly. Okay, Stacey, again, thank you very much for being on. I have really enjoyed it, and I have learned a lot.
Thank you. I had a great time. Thank you so much for having me on.
Good. Okay, I do want to talk to you here in just a little bit. So if you will you call me after this?
Sure.
Okay. All right. Sounds good. Y'all have a great week, and we'll talk to you later. All right. Bye. Wave, Stacey. They can see you. You're used to an audio podcast. You got to wave. Okay. Have a good week. All right. Bye.